Hello, hello, hello. So this week we watched Village of the Damned.
Wait, didn't we watch The Village People?
No, that's Can't Stop the Music. That doesn't have a remake. Did you watch the wrong movie?
Oh no! I watched the wrong movie.
Okay, so this week I guess we're talking Can't Stop the Music. No. we're talking Village of the Damned, or should I say Villages of the Damned, since we watched the 1960 original and the 1995 remake, which is John Carpenter's Village of the Damned. Gotta own that one, John. So, we are starting with the 1960, and Mia, would you like to take it away?
Yes, thank you for listening to Refried Scenes.
Oh, I forgot to name that. I'm Carol.
I'm Mia. I'm going to give you the rundown of both movies. So the first one goes very slow, so I'm just kind of going to graze over the first hour and a half.
Which is the whole movie? It's not a hard tale. It's not like an in-depth tale. It's a very lightweight tale, I should say. It's evil children.
They're alien children.
Yeah.
So the inhabitants of the British village of Midwich suddenly fall unconscious, and the military establishes a perimeter to try to figure out what's going on. And it just gets weird. They decided people are fainting, and there's no explanation as to why. And then a few weeks later, everybody, the women start showing up pregnant.
Yeah. All of the childbearing age women, which in this town apparently is 10 or 12. It's 12 in this one because there's 12 kids in this one. So there are 12 childbearing women in the town of Midwich.
And they're passed out for 4 hours during this.
Yeah.
During that.
Yeah.
That thing.
So 4 hours and those aliens got busy.
We should have reviewed the Can't Stop the Music. That would have been a more fun.
Somebody make a remake so we can do Can't Stop the Music on Refried Scenes.
Please. So as the kids grow up, they're going to school and things like that, and it's evident that they are smarter than the average child. They have notably blonde hair. I mean, white hair.
Yeah.
In fact.
The first movie's black and white, so you can't really tell a color. It's just they're obviously very fair.
Which is, odd considering some of the parents have darker hair and things like that. So it's just suspect. And the children seem to develop a telepathic link between one another. They don't communicate much verbally. And some of the mistakes the adults make in the movie, the child uses their eyes to mesmerize them and get that adult to cause self-harm.
Yeah.
And suicide attempts.
Yeah.
Or successful suicides. There's a Mr. Zellaby in the movie, and he's the guy in the movie that he does everything right. He's the upstanding citizen, times 10.
And he's the smartest person in the village.
Yeah, he's kind of like a Mr. Rogers type of guy.
He's the father of the leader of the kids, which is David. Well, he's the father in parentheses, because obviously he didn't father him, but he is the father of David.
So, he starts teaching the children and gaining their trust. But more and more deaths are occurring, and it's found out that there's other villages around the world with kids, and this is occurring. Mm-hmm. And so, to deal with this and get rid of the threats of the children, Zellaby decides he's going to form, he's just going to think of a brick wall and that's his pièce de résistance against the children, so they can't read his mind. And he uses that to his advantage. Well, or disadvantage, depending on how you look at it. But he brings a bomb into the schoolhouse where he's teaching them, and it's set to go off at a certain time, and he's thinking of this brick wall so the kids don't know that there's a threat, and ultimately blows up himself and the children in Midwich.
Yeah. So all of these kids are dead. And the kids in the other, because I think there's 3 cities that this happens to. And in one, like, all the pregnancies fail. I think in the Australian one, all of the pregnancies fail. There's one in Alaska where, tiny bit of racism here, they say that the tribe of Eskimos, and I don't use that term normally it's Inuit, but they say Eskimos here killed the children because they were all blonde. And then in Russia actually kept the children alive, much like Midwich, and they got too powerful, and so Russia just bombed the entire town.
The most interesting scene in this movie, well, one of 2 for me, it was this data analyst breaking down what's going on worldwide with these children, and then second, the brick wall scene at the end.
Yeah. It's very low budget. It's 1960s. It's a 1960s British sci-fi film, so I'm sure their budget was like 10 pounds and a ham sandwich. It's like, here, make a movie. So there's lots of scenes of men sitting around a table talking about the kids. They don't show you a hell of a lot.
And the one main child, David, is we think he's voiced by a female actress. Yeah. There's a lot of ADR, and it's obvious ADR.
Yeah.
And it kind of creeped me out. I would rather hear the child.
Well, that's what we thought. And then we got the remake. We were kind of making fun of David's voice because it's obvious that that's not the kid's voice. He sounds like an adult mimicking a child.
Not in the way, like, my daughter has an extensive vocabulary, and she... It's like talking to another adult, but she still has a kid voice, so it's not like that.
This kid sounded like a woman who's trying to do a little boy's voice. So it was kind of funny in a way, but it was also kind of eerie, and it fit with the situation, because I think David is the only child in this movie that speaks.
Ooh.
I can't think of any other child. I mean, there's a scene where one of the little girls walks in front of a car, and she almost gets kind of bumped by the car. She doesn't get, like, run over or anything. But they make the guy run his car into a wall and kill himself because he harmed one of the children. But even then, I don't think she says anything when she's bumped. I think David is the only one that talks for these kids.
Huh. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. But it's a 1960s film. It's very obviously low budget. They didn't have a whole lot of money to show you much of anything. What they did do, I think they did the best with what they could. This is based on a book called The Midwich Cuckoos. And I don't think it's not a great film, but I don't think it's a terrible film for what it is. And that brings us to 1995.
Okay, so this one is just very similar to the last one. I'm not going to go through the rundown again. I'll just tell you the differences.
Yeah.
So the difference is the children do talk.
Mm-hmm. Some of them do. To their detriment.
They're not
good actors
on the acting, but neither are the adults.
No, this film has some bad acting in it.
You get a little bit more backstory in the women that have become impregnated.
Yeah.
So you've got complicated stories, and this was in the original too, but I think maybe they spent 5 more minutes on it in the remake.
In the remake.
So you know that one girl is a virgin, one that's pregnant, her husband's been out of town, so he suspects that she's been cheating on him when she's becomes pregnant. Things like that.
Yeah.
And another woman, which might be considered the lead actress in the movie.
Yeah.
Doesn't want children. She's focused on her career, and she isn't... Oh, no, but she does say she has been trying.
Yeah, they've been trying to have kids, but it hasn't really happened. And her husband actually dies when he drives into town during the blackout and crashes his car. Because he faints, basically.
He said something very crass to her. I'll quit smoking if you... When you get pregnant or when you have a baby, as though... Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there was misogyny
in both movies
there. And the young girl that becomes pregnant, when they're all going into labor, she has complications in the pregnancy. The baby is born with the umbilical cord wrapped around its neck, so it was a stillborn. And
our scientist of the movie, who's played by Kirstie Alley, just kind of runs out the door with this dead baby.
Yeah, I didn't introduce Kirstie Alley.
Yeah. What is she? She's like a virologist?
Etymologist is what she said. I didn't know. I didn't look up what that profession is.
But she shows up when everybody's
very
out.
Focused on figuring out what's going on with these kids.
And I don't know why that's her job. I was never clear on what her job in the government is, that she's the head of this research team.
And they didn't question it either, because she tells them if they have their baby, she's going to give them $3,000 a month.
Per child. Because one guy's like, well, my wife and my daughter are both pregnant. Like, damn, dude.
So, under the understanding that I'm going to ask you to sign waivers, and I'm going to be a part of everything.
Yeah.
So, they're like, well, and this is a rundown coastal town.
Well, that's another weird thing about this movie. It starts out where it's just a normal town, and then for some reason, it becomes rundown, and all of the cars rust, and they never explain why this town goes from, a standard town to, Death Valley days with tumbleweeds rolling in the streets. It's just like, well, we had all these kids, so nobody's coming here, I guess.
Now we're suddenly overpopulated by 8 children. 9 children.
9 children, because David's not the leader in this one. David's the outcast.
Yes, David is the child that... another twist in this movie is that the children are born with pairs. Mm-hmm. Not that they are born as two to a person, but by design, they're to be paired up later in life.
Yeah. There's 5 girl children, there's supposed to be 5 girl children and 5 boy children, and then one of the girls is the stillbirth.
Yeah, so David was supposed to be her love interest, partner. I don't think these kids really love. I don't know, but they're supposed to be paired up, and he is kind of the outcast because he doesn't have a pair. And I like that twist in this movie.
They just don't do anything with it.
I really wish that they would have done more with that.
But.
And there wasn't any note that this was occurring in any other town outside of Midwich.
No, there was, because they talked about the Russian town.
Oh, I see. I missed that. This movie bored the piss out of me.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. It's mentioned once, and then Kirstie Alley mentions it one last time to the doctor, who's played by Christopher Reeve, right before she tries to skip town. Because she's like, the Russians blew up the town with all of the people in it. You got to get out of here now. So, this movie is just, it's poorly paced and nothing is explained properly. It's just, I was so frustrated with this movie.
It fell apart on the script. Mm-hmm. And, I mean...
You have this...
That's a foundation here, filmmakers.
You have all of this just totally wooden acting. Nobody seems to be having any sort of fun with their characters. I
like Kirstie Alley. I like Christopher Reeve.
She's just a bitch. And I don't understand what, like I said, they don't explain what her job is. And then she sticks around and she keeps this stillborn baby, like, in the basement of her office in the same town that the kids are in. And she's like, well, I'm just hiding it from, in my mind so they don't find out. How on earth did you think that was gonna work? These kids read minds. This is just such a poorly written movie.
But listen, if the kids do read minds, then they would know that baby that was stillborn was stillborn. Yeah. Nobody intentionally harmed that baby.
Yeah. So I'm not certain why they have her kill herself in the end.
They have her scalpel her heart out the way that...
Yeah, she basically does an autopsy on herself while she's alive.
Yes, because the baby had
we assume, because you don't see anything.
You see her drawing the T the same way.
Yeah, but they focus on her
corpse of the
they
baby.
Focus on her face. But again, it's like, why did they need to do this? I don't...
Once you question anything about this movie, it falls apart really fast.
Really, really fast. I didn't understand the virgin in this movie, the one that gave birth to the stillbirth, kills herself later on, and I'm like, why did she do that? I don't understand why she did that. She didn't seem incredibly happy that she was pregnant. She didn't seem like she really wanted the child. You'd think she'd be like, whew, I'm out of that. These kids are weird. But she shows up later on and just shoots herself. And I'm like, why? I don't understand why she did that.
Got another movie deal offer, guys. I'm out.
There's a priest who's played by Mark Hamill, and he goes from counseling the town to, I'm gonna shoot all them kids.
He's not even good in this movie.
No.
They could have really had some fun with this.
Yeah, they could have, but he flips on a dime and tries to shoot the kids, and of course they make him shoot himself. His wife gets the actress award because I don't think she says a word until there's a scene in both movies where the townspeople rise up and they grab torches. It's like freaking Frankenstein. They're storming Frankenstein's castle with torches and pitchforks. And I'm like, it's 1995. Does no one have a gun?
Very Salem, Massachusetts.
But they all have torches and they're in the street, and the preacher's wife, I think this is the only time she talks. She's just raining fire and brimstone, and she's shaking, and she's stamping her feet, and I'm like, oh, honey, you tried. You had your one scene, and you tried. But it's just too little too late, sorry. And it's one of those things, this movie frustrated me because I understand why the 1960 movie doesn't show you a whole lot, because they just didn't have the money to show you. They couldn't show you, they couldn't show you the village in Russia. They couldn't show you the bomb exploding or anything.
No, but their workaround was awesome.
Yeah. Here, John Carter had $22 million to make this movie. Whoa. And I don't know where the hell he spent it.
That's a lot of white wigs, guys. That's a lot of white
wigs. Because on 2 occasions, one of those background girls, her wig was crooked. And I'm like, oh, stop messing with your wig. Your hair's on crooked.
You could tell the kids had been scratching, around their ears under the wig cap.
Yeah.
Between cuts. It was messy. It was messy.
And I'm like, he could have shown the Russian kids. He could have shown Russia. Christy Alley doesn't even, pull out a videotape or something and go, hey, this is what happened in Russia. No, she just walks up to him and goes, they blew up the town in Russia. And that's the last you hear of anything. This film's rated R, but other than the cops shooting themselves at the end, you see zero blood. Very little blood. I mean...
Yeah, there might have been 2 drops on when Kirstie Alley put the scalpel in her chest.
Yeah, because you don't see that actually happening. You see what she's doing with her arm, but they're focused on her face. You don't see Mark Hamill blow his head off. You don't see anything. It's really...
And there's no language issue.
No. I don't know why this could have been PG-13 really easily, other than the cops shooting themselves. Because at the end, the cops show up where the kids are, and the kids make them shoot each other. And I'm like, one, this is completely out of place because it looks like freaking Die Hard all of a sudden. And two, that's the only time you get any sort of blood.
There is one creepy scene where I forget which child's mother it is, but the doctor's wife.
It's the lead.
She puts her arm in a boiling pot of soup. Yeah.
I actually liked the scene better in the original because in the original it was David's mom, and David's just a baby, and she made his bottle too hot, so he just instinctively had her put her arm in boiling water.
Yeah, it was better. It was better.
And she acted it much better too. She just literally could not stop herself from putting the arm over and over in this boiling water. In the remake, it's the doctor's wife. It's I think the little girl's name is Mara. That's the lead. And she puts her arm in boiling soup. But she's obviously trying to stop herself from doing it, and she's struggling, and it's like, no, they would force you. You wouldn't have a struggle that much. You would just be doing it over and over, and then later on she throws herself off a cliff for some reason. And I'm like, did Mara make her do that? Or... is she just tired?
Or did she just do that?
Yeah. There's no explanation. What killed me, too, is she kills herself, and then her husband on her tombstone puts beloved wife and mother. I'm like, I don't think she was really happy to be the mom here. Her kid's making her boil her arm off, and who knows who fathered it. So it's like, wow, that was an ill thought out tombstone, Dad.
Well, comparing the two, the original was paced poorly.
Yeah.
And I didn't care for the ADR. The remake, I will say, was paced better than the original, because it kind of... you got a little bit of backstory, and then them being passed out for that 6 hours, and the FBI coming in and doing the dragging the one FBI agent. That happened in both films, but it was more interesting to watch in the remake. But then it just got totally... the energy sucked out of that movie.
Yeah.
So... I don't even know how to compare.
There's also a part in the original where they try and fly a plane in because they're getting nowhere on the ground. You pass this line and you just pass out. So they fly a plane in, and they realize that you can go a certain height and you're fine. But then the guy goes down a little bit and he passes out and the plane crashes. In the remake, the only death you see during the pass out is some guy just kind of leaning over a hot dog grill. And apparently he just, fried himself for 6 hours. And I'm like, physically, would that work? Wouldn't he just fall off the grill? I don't know, but hey, cool dead body effect, I guess. The original is poorly paced.
That's why it was rated R right there.
Probably. That and the cops. Yeah. To me, it was like, go all in for your R rating, or...
I know, it's John Carpenter.
It's John Carpenter. Come on, dude. You're the master of horror. Why are you skimping on the blood bags here?
Why are we pussyfooting around?
Yeah, why are you like, oh my, we're not going to show that shot to the face? No. To me, it was like, what are you pussing out for, John?
But John Carpenter, not only is he known for horror, but he's known for comedic horror.
Yeah.
Like, tongue-in-cheek sort of...
This could have been done...
Fun horror. And you had Kirstie Alley!
This could have been a fun remake. It really could have been a fun... It really could have been a fun remake. First off, I'm sorry. I loved Christopher Reeve as Superman, but every other movie I have seen him in, he's a block of wood. And he's a hunky block of wood, but he's a block of wood. And here he's just, it's the same. He might as well just be the brick wall he's thinking of, because that's what he emotes. You can spray him and look like he's sweating all you want, but he's not emoting all that much. I will say, George Sanders in the original, because he plays Zellaby, he has a pompousness to him that I actually believe. And maybe it's just the British accent, but I actually believe he'd be pompous enough to believe that he can teach these kids humanity. Christopher Reeve doesn't want to teach these kids. He's kind of thrown into the teacher job because no one else will do it, basically. No one wants to do anything with these kids.
The schools don't want these kids in class because the other kids, it disrupts the other kids' learning.
Yeah.
They're so far surpassed on knowledge.
Yeah.
That it's disruptive in class. I get that.
Yeah, and in the original, that's explained better because they're actually... They threaten children in the original. Because the kids don't like them. They're weird. So, and kids are rat bastards that way. Oh, you look different. You're different. We hate you. And they make threatening gestures to these kids. So it's like, yeah, we need to separate them. Here, do you see any other kids after?
No, you get, and forgive me, I don't remember her character name, but the blonde lead actress.
The principal, yeah.
She tells Ellaby
that, yeah, she tells them that the kids don't want them in their classroom, but you don't see any other kids after the opening scene where they all faint.
Right.
So it's a bizarre remake that fails on just about every level, which is kind of weird because I look at the original, I'm like, this is a movie that could do with a remake.
It needs another remake. It needs a remake that can take the bare bones, because that's good.
Yeah.
And develop it.
Yeah.
And make it fun or make it creepy or whatever you're going to do, just hold on to that the entire movie. This didn't know what it wanted to do.
No. And damn, just buy some decent wigs. Why can't Hollywood buy decent wigs?
I don't know. I've seen some movies here in the past last weekend that had some horrible wig choices. And
that was a $200 million movie.
Yeah.
But this is just, I don't know, everything just looked off in this film. And maybe it was the time period, it's 1995. But that was the other thing. Nobody has phones. Nobody has video recorders. Nobody has nothing. This is 1995. Again, why are you carrying torches? I don't understand. that visual of the townfolk with torches and pitchforks. I'm like, what are you doing? This is not 1939. It's 1995. Get yourself a damn weapon. It was just such a funny visual. And it's not meant to be funny. It's meant to be, oh my god, they're gonna die because they're threatening the children.
It really looks like, the older white ladies in Florida that you see protesting, my children will not wear masks in school.
Yeah,
it really had that
vibe to it. And it's just, oh god. And the lead little girl, Mara, is just so bad.
I think they're told to read their lines like they are very smart and very better than everyone else and unfeeling. And so their lines come across like this.
Yeah, and they walk like little robots. They're all in line. The girls in one line, the boys in another, and then poor David just behind everybody else. And they walk like little robots.
Yeah.
And, okay, the twist ending of the remake is that they do leave David alive.
Oh, yes, I forgot to mention that. Thank you.
David does not get blown up in the end. And they don't even do anything with that. His eyes don't glow at the end. He doesn't do anything weird at the end. He just stares out a car window while they drive away. So, I don't know. I guess he was trying to set up a sequel. Thank God we didn't get it. Although the original, the 60s one, did have a sequel that I have never seen. It's called Children of the Damned. But, that one does have a sequel. So maybe he was hoping to remake Children of the Damned as well.
Well, so what do you like better?
I'm going to go with the original. It's slow-paced. And that's mostly because they didn't have the budget for anything but a bunch of guys sitting around a table talking about things.
I'm still going to go for the original also. I think it should have been a short film instead of a feature. But
I can see where it'd be drive-in fodder for 1960.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah.
Cut it down to 30 minutes and have it precede the
or even
feature film that
this
you're
is
there
your time
for.
to make out while they're all sitting around a table talking about Alaska, or but the remake is just, it's so bad on so many different levels.
I don't recommend it to anyone. And I recommend that somebody else remake it.
Yeah, because this is a good movie to remake. There's a lot you can do with that, and Carpenter didn't do it. I'm kind of disappointed. So, for our next episode, we have determined that if it falls on a horror movie, we're gonna roll again, because we've been doing the horror movies. We did do Dune recently, but
it was October last month. We're moving on from the scary stuff.
Yeah. Oh, why can't I see that? Okay, so randomizer. That's not the randomizer. That's the randomizer. Boo. 10. God, didn't we get 10 last time?
I don't know.
No, wait a minute. That's what I want. You're not gonna let me. Can I see? So number 10 is Total Recall. Woo! Which is not... It's sci-fi, so we don't have to spin again. Oh, this is going to be fun.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
We can discuss whether or not everything happens in the first one. Okay, so that is Refried Scenes for Villages of the Damned. Mind your children. Make sure, particularly if they're very blonde, make sure their eyes don't glow. And we'll see you next month.